Hopefully.
They're
Hopefully
taking a
they'll.
quick short pause before the finals of this Legacy Championship Series.
Yeah. You want to take a look at the leaderboards now? We can kind of see where we're at least
Absolutely, let's
until
take
the
a small
players
look.
jump back in.
As we just saw, Peter Trigos just defeated Matt Hoey in the semifinals. Black White Eldrazi over Elves. Uh, that's some good points for Peter Trigos this
That will.
weekend.
That'll. I wonder how far that'll bump him up. I mean, he has the potential here to just
And also Matt Hoey.
end it. Oh
Fantastic.
yeah, Matt Hoey's going to bump up also.
Matt Hoey's going to probably go somewhere, if not second or third.
Yeah.
Yeah, if Trigos does not win,
Hmm.
he will be second.
Sure.
If Trigos loses in the finals, they'll be somewhere tied,
Which is
somewhere close.
fantastic.
And it'll be something like along the lines of Will, Peter, Hoey, and then something like myself, Bocelli, and Brickman, Justin Brickman, all in the top six area.
Yeah.
Max Malter and John Kravatis. John will probably be up there as well because he got a couple points today.
He did, and you know what's funny? We've kind of talked about him just on and off the stream and in the store. Obviously, he's a regular here.
Absolutely.
I've kind of nicknamed John the gatekeeper, as he's sat at the number 2 spot for so long. No one's gone past him, so he just sits there and kind of, accrues
Why aren't we calling
points
Will Hockman
slow-
the gatekeeper?
Well, Will
He's been
Hockman's
first.
he's past the gate. He's number 1.
Oh,
You can't be the gatekeeper if you're number 1, because that implies you're already past the gate, right?
So you have to have something on the other side of the gate.
Always. What are you going to?
It's a very inspiring thing of you to say.
You're going to build a gate and not have anything behind it?
There are doors with nothing on the other side.
That's terrible.
Well,
How
it's funny.
depressing is that?
That's not depressing. But anyway, you guys, we have some. We're gonna have our players looking over the deck list of each other. Greg Gostatrin playing Blue Red Delver. Price of Progresses. Those are going
Is that
to
a real
be-
card in that deck?
It is so good.
Oh,
I
jeez.
This is
Look
gonna
at
make me
this.
sound like I've played a lot of Legacy decks, and I have.
Okay.
But I played Blue Red Delver in the Columbus GP this past few
Why
months
stick
ago
with
or
the
whatever.
deck? Yeah, you can play all of them.
I mean, and I played 4 Price of Progress, and man, was that card good against Eldrazi.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh
yeah,
my
deck plays
gosh.
3 of them. You're not wrong.
Yep.
Wow, 2 Forkball. It plays Storm Chaser Mage. Oh, the Gatewatch All-Star?
Yeah, it's a hit and miss for me. If I'm playing Storm Chaser Mage, I don't want to be playing Daze, because I want to be playing as proactive as possible. And
Well,
Daze is
okay.
not a very and that was the thing. Dazes took up the slot of like things like Chain Lightning or Lava Spikes in the main.
Okay.
Because the way I played it is it was a burn deck with Force of Will and Sapcaster Mage
Sure.
and Brainstorm and just a few proactive cards. But my gosh,
And Greg's chosen to forego the Snapcasters in favor of Monastery Swiftspears, Delver Secrets, Young Pyromancers, Storm Chaser Mage.
he is on the tempo and burn you out
Yeah.
game plan.
Which is fair, because there's a lot of burn. 3 Price of Progress, like you said, 4 Lightning Bolt, 2 Forked Bolt. And then, just like you said, also, Force of Wills backed up by Brainstorms, Ponders, Dazes, and Spell Pierces. This is a tempo plan, my friend.
I get Daze is great, but man,
I like if you look at the deck list, you're going through all the spells and stuff like that. You get past all the lane. You're like, oh, there's that one.
that
main
one Flusterstorm on the bottom.
Flusterstorm.
Interesting deck list writing, probably a last minute decision.
great.
Was there any crossouts? Yep.
Yeah.
There it is. That's
Oh,
probably what that
that's
was.
it.
Yep. Nice.
Once again, very toolboxy sideboard too. I'll let you take a look at that since you're kind of
Sometimes it pays off, because that's
even in the tempo list.
it's
Once again, we're in a situation where the deck list shows a lot of 4s and 3s.
right.
Some 2s in the creature spots, but then you look at the sideboard and you're like, man, there's a lot of 1-ofs.
There are a lot of one-offs. I really
Is that
am.
fair? I don't know. I mean, I want you're the
So,
you're the
sometimes
pro
it's
here.
fine if the cards that are in the sideboard are already in the main deck, and
Okay.
you're just going up on numbers.
Okay, sure.
That's one reason and fair argument.
Okay,
But when it's the only copy in the 75, that's when I start to think,
maybe
is this
isn't-
really what I want to be doing with my sideboard? Are
Sure.
these the slots I really want to be devoting? If this is a deck I really want to be thinking about, do I want to devote to my main board to it a little
Yeah,
bit?
yeah.
Because Legacy's way too large to, just cover everything.
Oh, it's almost impossible.
If
right?
and like how I said earlier with the surgical extraction example, I don't want to. I mean, surgical obviously has other applications and other matchups other than dredge decks,
Of course.
or graveyard decks. But if I wanted a Tormod script, I wouldn't just put one Tormod script in my blue red Delver deck,
Right.
Because if I mean, it just doesn't have any applications in any other matchup. And when you're playing a deck like this, I don't think that's necessarily what you want. I think you want answers to decks you need to answer.
Yep.
and proactive spells that push through damage,
Sure.
things that just were counter spells against like decks like Storm, like
Better
things like
burn,
that.
like you said. Maybe
Yep.
you put some additional burn options in.
Well, burn could be redundant, but here we are, started on the game one of the finals. Greg is on the play.
Had a ponder. Had a good hand too. It looked like
Did he?
Double Island, Force of Will. I believe he's got a mountain as well. He had this ponder, Gataxian Probe as well. So we'll see what else. Force of Will.
Scavenger,
and
for your
Pirates.
comment in the chat. John Caravadas is in second place right now
Yes.
in the standings, but that may change after today.
I think he was referring to the Afro Samurai comparison.
Oh, is that
as there's always a number one and number two, and number
I
two
see.
always hunts number one to get the number one.
You see, I didn't
headband.
understand that reference.
Okay,
That's
well, that's fine.
unfortunate.
That's why I'm here. Trust me.
Thank you.
Love the Afro Samurai.
Thank you. Basic planes.
Yeah, but then there's this. Then there's these cards.
Yep,
God.
you're right.
Oh,
We'll see an
stop.
Mugen pitch to Mox Diamond. Chalice on one.
Here's the
That's
force.
not resolving in a million years.
No, you don't think that's
No,
gonna come
way
out?
too many one drops.
Yeah.
I'd say there's at least 28 one drops.
Jeez.
In
So if that
Greg's
card
deck.
did resolve, what happens then?
He casts Storm Changer Mages and Young Pyromancers, and
Just
then
like,
once he has a Young
okay.
Pyromancer in play, he just gets free value.
Yeah.
Well, not free value, but
Essential value.
just what he can scrape.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is a real thing.
Tutors up a Volk here, dropping to 18 to do so. What was the real popular Pyromancer deck a while back that we saw in Legacy for a little bit?
Before.
It was a long time ago. One of our ex-teammates used to play it.
Oh, yeah, Eric Brill, right?
Yeah,
He used to play the Grixis deck.
Was it
He won an
Grixis?
open with it.
Yeah,
Yep.
yes,
Yep.
yeah. That deck was sweet.
I remember that. I remember that tournament, actually.
Yeah.
Yep. I think I played Death and Taxes for that tournament.
What, out of your multiple Legacy choices?
I mean, I could just run down all the decks I've played.
Sure.
But Death and Taxes is one of the ones I've been more successful with.
That Pyromancer deck was pretty powerful.
Yeah,
back then.
that was it was Grixis Delver, and
I mean, pretty much the same.
it didn't have Gurmag Angler, obviously.
It did not at the time.
All right, Peter Tragos going to try again with his Chalice for one.
This time backed up by Cavern of Souls.
Well, that doesn't. Young Pyromancer does make it not as good
Correct.
as I mentioned before. But here we are seeing the little more reactive hand from Greg. A Spell Pierce, Brainstorm, and a Ponder. He's going to go back to bite him. He's going to just take advantage of what he can get this token. Make Peter remember his trigger.
Yes.
Because as we know, you can miss a Chalice trigger.
I've seen streams before where a player has missed a Chalice trigger, then attempted to resolve their own spell, and their opponent pointed to the Chalice and said, "You may not do that."
Well, that's a thing. Stoneforge Mystic. Optimal to cast with 2 lands on the back.
Mm-hmm. I'm assuming we're going to see the Jit here.
I think so. I don't think he's going to cast it. Because I think he's just playing around like double days
Sure.
at this point from Greg. Oh, actually, does he just have one card in? Yeah, he cast that Brainstorm. So he no particular outstanding reason to play the Stoneforge Mystic on 2. Or with 2 mana on the back. But here we are searching, deciding which one's better. Batterskull or Jit.
I would have to imagine. I would say Jit, but I could be wrong. What would you?
I say, well, in this board state, definitely Jit.
Okay.
He
So-
has he has a board state that
Oh, I guess
It's
we're gonna
very
get-
hard to
I
answer.
guess we're gonna get both, so it doesn't.
Right.
Our opinion does not matter here.
But if it was,
If it was
one or
just
the other,
one, yeah,
I would
Jit-
say Jit was
okay.
was first priority. Just clearing the Young Pyromancer to make all of his 1 mana spells dead
Yep.
is a real thing.
Yes.
In a vacuum against this deck, I would say Batterskull is generally
Life
better.
gain is better
Yes,
against the
a
deck.
4, just a 4/4.
Yep.
Doesn't die to any of Greg's removal. At least one spell. It would take 2, and that's not even good.
Right.
So Batterskull is an all-star against Greg, but here we are, just can't attack into these Stoneforge Mystics.
Jeez, Chalice of
It's
the Void.
kind of weird how good Squire is against 1/1s, but
That's what it was made for.
it's what it was meant to do. Tragos has Wealth of Riches, Reality Smasher, both pieces of equipment, and a mystery card that I could not make out. Let's see what he decides.
I'm assuming this will be the Jit, yeah?
It doesn't look like it to be a Stoneforge activation.
No, he's just going to play it, right?
I guess if you're not, it's a tough line because if you want to, yeah, he's just casting because he wants. Okay, just getting a trigger. Greg just wants triggers.
Yes.
If it resolves, best possible because he has to attack with one Stoneforge Mystic, get the triggers, and have a 1/2 on the back to block. That's the line of thinking for casting it. Otherwise, you would just snap off like if he has Force of Will in his hand. Well, it looks like I only had one card in hand again, so didn't really matter. And that's probably what Peter
That one card was the Spell Pierce.
Right. So doesn't look like there was just much Greg could do, actually. Days could have been fine. It could have kept him off a turn of Jit, but
This black-white Eldrazi deck is really impressive. I
It's
think now
extremely
watching
impressive.
it play, only because it attacks the Legacy format as a whole from so many angles.
Yep.
It plays fast lanes to get out quicker. It plays Cavern of Souls to produce uncounterable creatures. It plays equipments that it can tutor up to deal with things. It plays Chalice of the Void to stop its opponent's spells. Like, the deck is essentially
super good.
Yeah, I mean it's very good.
It's very powerful. That's the thing,
Yeah.
and it has lots of ways to answer the combo decks of the format, which is one reason Death and Taxes can withhold its place in a field of combo decks.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, if we look what Greg decided to do, he decided to trade the Young Pyromancer for Stoneforge Mystic instead of double blocking with 2 tokens to kill the Stoneforge Mystic.
Ooh, Daze the Reality Smasher.
Now that's like it's what we would say a start,
but it's not.
but it's not ending. So it's not going to be profitable for Greg in the long game. Thankfully, Peter does not have 2 extra mana to equip a Jit this turn. But I think Tragos is very far ahead in this game, to say the least.
Jit cannot pump the Stoneforge, correct? It can only pump the creature it's equipped to?
Correct. And I think that might be a thing that Greg is checking right now.
Sure.
Because, like I said, this is Joe's deck, Joe Burnell's deck, and
Okay.
as you know, he likes to Japanese out his decks.
Yeah.
Get all cards in Japanese. Draws that Greg does have right now, though, I will say, are Price of Progress.
Sure.
That does 6 damage currently to Peter Tragos.
6?
Oh, I'm sorry, those are Mox Diamonds. It does 2 damage. Just kidding.
But hey, Reality
But
Smasher.
That's the thing to try to think about. That was just... And then we got the big old Bamboozle. He will take 6 damage.
I think there is a testament to what you said before about this, even before this match, about the Eldrazi deck just playing solo powerful cards. Like,
Yep.
jeez.
The draws in Peter's deck are much better than the draws in Greg's deck, and that will send us to game 2.
Yeah, yes it will. You want to hit up Greg's sideboard real fast?
I would love to hit up Greg's sideboard.
Talked about the Eldrazi deck, but let's see what Greg's.
Alright, I'm going to list out the cards in his sideboard. We got 1 Threads of Disloyalty, 1 Sulfuric Vortex, 1 Price of Progress, 1 Flusterstorm, 1 Surgical Extraction, 1 Submerge, 2 Grafdigger's Cage, 2 Pyroblast, 2 Smash to Smithereens, 1 Pithy Needle, and 2 Grim Lavamancer. Now, this is very unfortunate that we are on so few copies of Dismember in this sideboard right now.
There's 1 or 2?
0.
Oh.
There's 0 in the 75. And that is going to come back to bite.
Is Sulfuric Vortex a card we can cast against the Eldrazi deck?
You're more than welcome to, but
I feel like that's a bad plan.
yeah, tapping 3 mana against a deck that's going to be casting spells like Reality Smasher, Thought on Seer, or just trying to rely on Sulfuric Vortex staying in your hand.
I don't
know.
like that plan.
Thought on Seer is pretty good against that too. I think his plan is just Delver him out. Just Delver and
What do we have to beat
hope
the
to
Chalice?
to beat the Chalice counter spells. There's Smash of Smithereens in the sideboard.
Okay.
Looks like that's about all he's got. The one price of progress is going to be coming in, most definitely. There's a chance he brings in the surgical extraction to try and get ahead. If he, it's the sideboard is not well equipped to handle Eldrazi.
What is the what is the overload cost for Vandal Blast?
4 in red.
Oh God,
It's a lot.
Never mind. That was a bad.
And plus, it also
Jeez.
costs 1, so it gets countered by
By
the Chalice.
Yeah, because it doesn't replace the CMC.
Right.
It's an additional cost.
Yeah.
Oh,
Smithereens is coming in. It's
is
going
that
to be
like
2
is that like the is that the best artifact removal we have?
in red blue.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to consider best in this version of the deck,
Sure. Yeah.
because it's
no.
it kills the thing.
Yeah.
They take
and,
3 for
and
2
deals
mana.
3.
Like
right,
it's
right. Gives us something. Yeah.
there's not much better that you want to do. The 1 mana artifact removal is just not a thing you can consider.
Right.
I guess I can. Uh, this sideboard is unfortunately not
Is
that good.
Threads okay here?
Power 2 or less, right?
Oh God, yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's
It
not very
is.
strong.
Oh, it's not like is Vidalcan Shackles unplayable in this deck? How many?
Yeah.
Is it really?
The Deck of Shackles is not a very good Magic card in Legacy.
Really?
Really.
Wow. All right. Interesting.
It's just so slow, and
Yeah.
Abrupt Decay is too prevalent in the format.
That's true. Yeah.
And that's one of the Tarmogoyf decks are the decks you want to bring it in against.
Right.
You would want to.
And I guess technically you'd rather have Submerge anyways in a deck like this if you're playing the Terminwave
Yep,
deck.
and
so.
he does in fact have one Submerge in his sideboard.
But we can't bring it in against the Eldrazi deck because we're not casting it for free. We're not getting the full value off the card.
Correct. I don't think Greg was prepared or thinking about Eldrazi when preparing for this Legacy
Was
tournament.
Peter the only Eldrazi deck in the
He
field?
was.
Oh, God. Whoops.
He was in fact the only one.
That'll get you. Well, so
Oh,
what do you think?
my, oh,
Just the
my.
smash?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a burn plan. I think he's going to capitalize on casting all of his 1 mana spells as quick as possible and relying on his 2 to take over the game.
That's fair. I mean, if that's what we want to do. You can try it out.
As for Peter Tragos, do you have his deck list?
I don't. It should be
Yeah,
hopefully
right here.
right
Got
behind.
it. Awesome. Quick thing to note that he will be bringing in probably Warping Whale is probably fine. I'm not really seeing too much else. I would want maybe the Thorns, but that's about it.
Oh, that's a pretty good card.
Yeah,
yeah, but that maybe even be slow. No, we can cast it fairly quickly.
Yep. If you're casting a turn 1 Chalice,
Yeah.
it's a fine like 5th and 6th copy of something to do on turn
Right.
1 for 2 mana.
Whenever I
Can be
hear
fun.
that card, I always, whenever I hear Thorn, I'm like, oh man, it's so slow for Legacy because
For sure.
I'm thinking about Vintage where you're like, oh, I'm gonna play a Workshop and a bunch of fast mana, and I'm gonna cast my Tanglewire and Thorn. Go ahead.
Unfortunate for Greg,
Yeah.
but also not as unfortunate. He has I think 4 1-drops in his hand,
Okay.
but a Force of Will. 3 or 4 1-drops, a Force of Will with a blue card,
Okay.
and some number of lands. So he can answer the Chalice, but I don't think his hand is that powerful unless there's a Delver in there. I didn't quite see. I saw Ponder and Pithing Needle.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a red spell or 2. Couldn't get a quite enough look. I think he's keeping, though. Let's see Peter Tragos here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Nope. We're on 6. We are on 6.
We are on 6.
He's going to keep it. Looks like we have a turn 1 Thorn.
Greg with Pithing Needle in hand too.
Yes, sir. Oh, look at that mountain. That is despicable.
The white bordered.
The one
Yeah.
revised mountain.
Are you excited for the new inner sleeves that can make your white border cards black and your black border cards white?
I saw that on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
About 8 months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are real things.
I didn't
now.
think it was going to happen.
Oh, it happened.
And here's the Swift Steer. We're going to beat.
That's a real thing that's happening.
Let's see what we got here. Storm Chaser Mage, 2 forces, and a Pithing Needle and a land. That is Greg's hand right now. Tragos with 2 Mox Diamond, Cavernous Souls, Thorn of Amethyst, and 3 unknowns to me. trigger, discard cavern. Alright, just what Greg wants to see. Take it 2 damage into a spell that doesn't kill his creature.
Is he going to
I,
force this, though?
it's close. I'm interested to see which line he takes. I think if you're planning to go long, you can let this resolve. But if you want to get this game over in short order, you want to force this, cast Storm Chaser next turn,
Yeah.
cast Pithing Needle on turn 3, get a Displacer or something, and that's it. Plus, these Force of Wills aren't, you know,
Great.
they aren't inevitably staying in his hand because of Thought Knot Seers. So
Well, this isn't bad here. He drew another Swift Spear, it looks like.
he can double spell. He
Yeah.
can cast Swift Spear and then cast Pithing Needle.
Mm-hmm.
Get in 4 damage, put him to 13.
I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
For people who may be tuning into the stream or may have been fans of watching it for a while,
Mhm.
it is a thing you will notice with very good Magic players that they try to use a majority of their mana during their turn for available mana. Like you're constantly saying, hey, a 2 spell turn is very good. You're saying we should use our mana proactively
Exactly.
and try and get the best value out of our mana. That was something Matt Dow preached a lot too. So you see this vein, and I think it's important for newer players to understand that, to understand
Absolutely.
taking turns casting a plethora of spells. Use your mana correctly, tap it correctly,
So here we are. Greg's actually capitalizing on the most amount of damage he can deal next turn,
Sure.
which is by casting 2 spells next turn. When like how you just said, you want sometimes to cast the cards that can net the most power among a game plan. Like for this example, if you cast this prowess creature into a prowess creature
And an additional
and an
spell.
additional spell, since he doesn't inevitably have the 3rd land to cast Storm Chaser and Pithing Needle next turn, he wants to make sure he can cast all of his spells on time and get the most damage. And that's just a thing that is very important when playing it, especially a format like Legacy,
Yeah.
when you want to get the opponent dead and make sure you don't die. You
Right.
know, like it's just such an explosive format, and you want to be just as explosive. And Greg playing fantastic here, realizing what it's going to take.
He finds the land.
So he finds the land, which means it didn't matter as much as far as damage is concerned.
But I still think it's relevant because
But it's
now the
relevant.
Storm Chaser Mage, like you said, has the ability, he can play the other Swift Spear,
Mm-hmm.
play the Pithing Needle, and the Storm Chaser Mage goes above an additional blocker that
Absolutely.
was played by Peter, so...
Peter will be taking 4 at the least this turn.
Oh, I'm assuming that's going to name Stoneforge Mystic.
Stoneforge Mystic is probably the name. It could be Eldrazi Displacer, but Displacer doesn't matter too much on this board. Well, I mean, it does, actually. It blocks very well. Greg does not have a follow-up.
Sure.
And he's most definitely going to be keeping that Misty Rainforest in his hand. Stoneforge Mystic has a hard time blocking 2/3. But he might be concerned about Price of Progress. Which is not that bad, but he's going to be having to cast or tap that Ancient Tomb to do anything. So
Right.
decides to conserve his life total, since that Stoneforge Mystic was probably named with the Pithing Needle anyway.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to see most likely a City Traders this turn into a hardcast Batterskull.
That's fair.
That's what I think is going to be happening here. Yep, and there we see it. Goes to 7, gets the token, so long as he remembers the trigger. There it is. This is a close one. Lightning Bolt, the draw. What he can do here is attack and bolt the creature. Oh, no. I think he's going to attack. He might have to attack with a Storm Chaser Mage, put him to 6, and block with a Swift Spear, and then bolt the creature he's blocking with. So Peter doesn't gain any life.
Interesting. It looks like he's taking the line of, I'm going to bolt the Better Skull.
Is that lethal?
It'll be 2/4? Or is there no...
I mean,
there's
that's
no-
also a fine line.
Yeah.
It's just like both lines include having to draw something. This one, I guess, is not as relying on killing the batters. Yeah, he ends up with much better of a board. I can't quite make out what this front card is. I thought it was a Gideon ally of Zendikar when this match started, but I don't think that's what it is. I can't quite tell.
People laughed at Gideon Allies in a car. But I put that card in my sideboard for
It's in my Death
miracles.
and Taxes sideboard.
Card's pretty good.
Yeah. Death and Taxes usually does have a hard time with miracles and shardless, so
Yeah.
having a Gideon ally Zendikar
That's fair.
is super, super nice.
Card is pretty good.
But that's not what's in his hand. I really can't tell.
No,
Do you
it's
have an
hard to
idea what
see.
that might be?
He's got his thumb over the artwork, so
I also look like a smuggler's copter.
that's what I thought it was, but I wasn't going to say anything. I didn't want to. I didn't want to be like, oh, look, it kind of looks like a smuggler's copter. There's no way.
No way.
Which it would.
I actually think it might be a Thalia.
That could be. It could be a promo Thalia.
3 mana.
Yep.
Alright. Excellent blocker for the Swiss Spear. Well,
Also very good to shut off any potential spells Greg might draw.
yeah, Greg drawing a land here certainly doesn't help the problem. All because now Peter could just equip the Batterskull to Thalia next turn. So
And
that's
that's having a 6/5 vigilance first strike lifelinker
Yep.
is known to be fairly good.
I think we might be seeing the wheels start to turn in Peter's favor for this game.
And this was a strong start from Greg too.
Very strong start.
Super strong.
Excellently played.
Can this blue-red deck play Ancestral Visions or not?
It does not.
Can it is the question.
Can it?
That's what I was asking.
I don't think that's necessarily what it wants to do in those matchups. I think it just wants to be more
Value.
proactive.
Yeah, that's fine.
Against decks like Shardless or Miracles. Because you're most likely not winning a long game.
Jeez, look at that life total adjustment after Better Skull. Oh God.
That is quite a house,
Yeah.
and that's what Batterskull tends to do against red decks. So, assuming... Oh, we got a fantastic draw on Brainstorm.
This will
Good.
cost 2 because of Thalia.
Sure does. And he does remember that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Is Price to
my.
Progress somewhat live here or not?
Dealing
This is
4, getting into... Puts him to 2, gains 4 up to 6.
Maybe not.
He also needs another to keep another land. He's gonna keep the volcanic in his hand, I'm sure. Maybe no, he's probably gonna bring it back. It's close.
We found an additional brainstorm and a fetch, so
He found fetch, volcanic, 2 delvers, and a brainstorm.
I can tell you paying 2 mana for a brainstorm is pretty much the worst.
What he can do is he can set up the delver flip and try to race the life gain.
That's he can because he can't get in with the Swift Spear anymore.
Well, he can race with Storm Chaser and Delver
I don't
and spells.
think that's fast.
I mean, it's not fat. It's if he finds a removal spell with the next brainstorm,
sure.
or he can attack with a Swift Spear and do the same thing he did.
I mean,
Thalia
you're
has
hoping
5
for
toughness.
smash, right? She has 5 now. She's a 6/5. Yeah.
It's definitely not good.
It isn't. I mean, I agree.
He's definitely on the. Oh, he can't even set up his Delver either, because he used the Misty Rainforest. He just needs different cards.
So this will be for
He
3.
shuffled away 1 Delver.
right?
Yep.
Wait, is Storm Chaser a 1/3?
It is a
with
1/3.
prowess?
Yes.
Oh, ugh.
Here we are seeing Delver of Secrets. Peter Dragos. A mass with cards in his hand.
A ton. And like you said before, any draw Peter has, more than likely the card is going to be powerful. I mean, it may not be great in the matchup, but the Eldrazi deck plays,
He has a Warping Wheel.
sure, the value.
The Warping Whale.
I like
Making a call.
I like that card's art. Big fan.
It calls for destruction. It
Yeah.
calls for scions.
Yep.
And it
And it
calls
just-
for peace
Just counters.
by countering sorceries.
You know the Eldrazi card that didn't see play?
What's
That I
that?
really wanted to see play? Brutal Expulsion. I like
Oh.
card. I like that card a lot.
I'm not a big fan.
It costs a little much for what it does.
It's pretty expensive. This game is looking pretty dim for Greg,
But, yeah.
unfortunately.
Oh,
Let's see, I thought Nazir here. Taking a brainstorm.
pass.
I think Greg's best draw is a ooh.
Jeez.
Take out
Oh,
the Delver. And now his best draw of Prize of Progress is no longer a real
anywhere
draw. It
near
wasn't
good.
even then, but is
No,
less now.
would it
We're
have
going to see Greg
flipped?
take what might be the last draw set of the tournament.
His Delver wouldn't have even flipped. Oh boy. Blockers.
Cast Swiss Fury, he's going to play it out. Well, no reason not to.
Is that an additional warping wheel that we just drew?
Uh,
I'm almost positive it
looks
is.
like a smuggler's copper to me.
Oh,
That's
it
a
might
reality
just be a smasher.
And what better way?
Profitable blocks here, Ben Mighty?
I would like to say no. We're gonna see Chumps on Thalia and Thoughtnuts here, and Greg's gonna go to 5, and that's
The best.
the best you can do.
Ooh.
Maybe Peter will cast a pact and forget to pay.
Oh, yeah. The line's always there. It's hopeful.
Never know.
Yep. Just like you said, dropping on a 5. Peter going to go up to 12. And that's it.
And that is the game.
Wow, Peter Tragos.
Your October Legacy CT champion.
Peter Tragos. I mean, it's awesome. Congratulations to Peter.
Absolutely.
Great showing by Greg and the rest of the top 8.
Fantastic human being. One of my favorite Magic players.
Deserves it, man.
Absolutely.
He just came in and decided to crush it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been coming to a lot of CTs.
Yes, he has.
So, good for him.
This opens up a lot of the spots for the 20-pointers, though.
Yes, it does.
So if you're if you're in the race with me, this is big.
Were you going to tell them to continue coming or stop coming?
I love to play Magic, so
Yeah.
please come out and play the Championship Trials. I'll be out here for the the next one in November, which is standard, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
If we take a look at the points right now,
So Peter gets bumped up. He's out, essentially,
Peter
right?
Peter gets taken right off the board and
Yep.
gets placed right into the championship, which opens up Justin Brickman right underneath me. And I don't think anybody under Justin Brickman got more points than 2
Right.
this weekend. So I
Right.
think the all under 7, all under 21 points, Matt Hoey and under,
Yeah.
will go up at the same rate. They'll generally be the same place.
Sure.
So I think the 5th and 6th spots will stay in the 20 some point area. Matt Hoey will go up to 20, I think 27 or 20, something high, some high 20,
Yeah.
in between Will and John. And then there will be one 21 or 22 pointer
In this area.
in the
between-
6,
Oh,
because
okay.
it's going to bump these down. It's
Sure.
going to bump 2 through 4 down. Matt's going to go up, and that'll be 1 through 5. And then you'll have 6, which will
Yep.
be a 22 or 23 pointer. And that's either myself or Justin Brickman, most likely.
Yep.
And that will be the standings. It'll be a fight between me and all these other guys.
Oh, man. Are you ready to throw down?
This is going to be insane. And
Great.
I can't wait. It's going to be fantastic. I love playing Magic here. The Nerd Rage is a fantastic store. I love playing here.
Oh,
Glad to be a
man.
part of the team. You guys are a great group of individuals. I hope I can come do some more streaming in the future.
I hope so. You were
This-
fantastic.
This was a lot of fun.
Did you like it?
I did.
Was it enjoyable back here in the booth?
I love Legacy. I love talking. I love being wrong about plays.
I don't think you were. I think a lot of your calls were spot on. I mean,
I think I was just saying what I would do.
which is really what you should, right?
Yeah. I was really shocked actually about the
The Elves matchup.
the
stuff?
Elves matchup. That was
Yeah.
very surprising to me. But I've heard Matt talk about how bad the matchup is before.
Yeah.
I've heard him say that because before the Legacy GP he was going to go,
Yep.
but he was not looking forward to playing against the popular Eldrazi deck because it was popular that weekend.
Sure.
So here we are. Peter Tragos, congratulations to you. Well deserved. I will hopefully see you in the championship trial along with, was it 18? Is it 18 of us?
I believe it's top 16.
16,
right? Yeah,
top
I
16.
believe so.
It's the 6 at-large bids, and then the 11. Uh,
10?
there were 10
I
CTs.
think there were 10 CTs.
Fantastic.
Yep.
All right, it was great announcing with you, Andrew.
Hey, man, thank you for coming in the booth, man.
I love it.
And congratulations on the team again. I mean, it's fantastic to have you. We love having you here.
Absolutely.
You've been a great addition so far. So, as of just a small note before we sign off, I've got messages from John Caravitas. The phone usually tends to blow up as the last thing ends. So, John earned 3 points today. That puts him in ninth place.
Really,
If we're looking at the, I believe, overall leaderboard currently.
in ninth place.
I think that's what he said.
That
That's what
doesn't-
he's got listed behind
I don't
him.
understand.
I'm not sure either. So we can go back and take a look. The leaderboard will be updated online.
I guess we
so-
weren't accounting for the members of top 8 that have played in earlier tournaments.
Correct.
And because this leaderboard that we have here, if we show it again,
Yeah, of course.
if we show it, it's only got the 16s.
Yes.
Like it doesn't go too much farther
No,
down.
it doesn't go beneath that.
And you
but
get
the
a
points
lot
are
of
still
points.
high. Yes.
You get a lot of points for top 8ing and top 4ing these tournaments.
Yes, you do.
You get, I think, is it 8 for top 4?
Yes.
Top 8 for top 4,
Yep.
6 for top 8.
Yep.
And,
And then it decreases.
Then yep, absolutely. So anybody who was in the ranks in the ranks could have just jumped. So seeing John in ninth place, that's devastating.
Yeah.
That's going to be hard for anybody to.
I mean, it definitely switches things up. And obviously, for you guys at home, if you want to keep track of this leaderboard, you can head over to nerdragegaming.com. There's a link there that'll take you to like the CT upgrades and deck lists and things like that, where all this
Absolutely.
information will be posted. So it's good to check that out. But yeah, I mean, like you said, the people below anywhere from 10 to 16, those people can still fight. Like we've got
Yeah,
one more
no.
CT coming up, so it's definitely
That's-
easy for someone to top 4 and get a ton of points and slip in. Like
Yep, it's going to be big. I'm going to do really well at that tournament.
I hope
And,
so.
I'm going to.
I think we'll see guys like Twan. I think Twan will come back for the standard CT.
He hasn't been
and-
here a couple weeks. Or a
He
couple-
hasn't. He
couple
was at
tournaments.
regionals yesterday. Though.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, he was.
he
So
was.
I think he's kind of waiting in the wings for his chance to come back in top 4 in a standard event and kind of put people back in their place. So
Yeah. Oh man, Legacy is great.
it's great. Good
Legacy
format.
is my favorite.
It's fantastic. All right, guys, we're signing off for the night. Thank you so much for tuning into the top 8 here of this Legacy Championship trial. We've had a blast. Congratulate Ben Miney on his first stream. It'll be fantastic. We'll have these videos up on YouTube probably at the start of next week, so make sure to check that out. You can see that on the first page of Nerd Rage Gaming as well. And that's it, Ben. We're good.
All right.